and for today's video, I'll be presenting and discussing the different directional terms and planes in a human anatomy and in an animal anatomy. So without further ado, let's get into that video.
For the first topic, directional terms. Directional terms describes the positions of structures relative to other structures or locations in the body. Anterior, or also significant to cephalic or cranial, which refers towards the head end of an animal, but it is called superior to a human anatomy. Posterior, or also known as the caudal or caudal, which refers towards the tail end of an animal, while it is called inferior in a human anatomy. Next is the dorsal. Dorsal is a directional term which refers to the back or upper side of an animal, but it is called posterior in a human anatomy. The ventral. Ventral is a directional term which refers to the underside or the front of an animal, but it is called anterior in a human anatomy. Lateral. Lateral is a directional term which refers to the left or right side of an animal or human body. Median. Median is a directional term which refers to the midline or the middle of an animal or human body. Next is the central. Central is both applicable to an animal and human body, which refers to a part of a system that is near to the middle. Next is the peripheral. Peripheral is a directional term which refers to the part of the body which is nearest to the surface. Proximal. Proximal is a directional term which refers to the main mass of the body. For an example, next is the distal. If proximal is near the main mass of the body, distal is farthest away the main mass of the body. For an example, next is the superficial. Superficial is also known as the ectal. Superficial is a directional term which refers on or near the surface of the body. Next is the deep, or also known as the ental. It is the opposite of the superficial. If superficial is on or near the surface, the deep or the ental refers below or beneath the surface of the body. For the last two directional terms, which is the inferior and the superior, they are both not applicable to an animal anatomy. Inferior refers towards the lower extremities or the lower part of the body, while superior is a directional term which refers towards the upper extremities or upper side or upper part of the body. First is the median. Median is a vertical plane that is running longitudinally from head to tail, which divides the body into two halves, identically left and right halves. Next is the sagittal plane. Sagittal plane could be any parallel plane or vertical longitudinal plane, which divides the body into halves also, just like a median. But sagittal could be divided unequally from left or right halves, which is called the para-sagittal plane. Horizontal, or also known as the frontal plane. It is a horizontal longitudinal section through the body. It divides the body from front to back. For an animal, it's called the dorsal and ventral. It divides it divides the dorsal and ventral. While for a human anatomy, it divides the body from the anterior and the posterior. For the last plane, it is the transverse, or also known as the cross plane. A plane that cuts across the body into lower extremities or the upper extremities for a human, which is the inferior and its superior. It divides the interior and superior, while for an animal, it divides the anterior and the posterior of an animal.
So that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed and learned the directional terms, the different directional terms and planes of an animal and a human anatomy. So yeah, see you on my next video. Adios!